Alright, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I haven't been this excited for something to come in the mail in quite some time, actually. Now I know what you're wondering. What is it? What's gotten you so excited? Even I might not look excited, but trust me, deep down inside, I'm very excited. If you see the title of the video, okay, it kind of gave it away, but still, I have never been more excited for something this small.
That's what she said.
Now, what's so exciting about this little thing? Well, let's get into it. So yes, so what is special about this little switch? This is not just any regular Cherry MX style switch. This is a Boba switch. A Boba U4 to be precise. I've been getting into custom keyboards and modifying keyboards recently, and I've been doing a lot of research. So I prefer a silent keyboard. I like quietness. I don't know why. I do. I just really do. And I have to also say that I am part of hashtag Tactile gang. Linears just don't really do it for me. Listen, I get it. Like, there's a lot of nice linear switches out there, but I like feeling a tactile bump and just, yeah, I don't know what it is. For me, tactiles hit different. Hashtag tactiles hit different. Anyways, so I really enjoyed tactile switches. And when I was looking for a switch to swap out with my drop shift, I must have watched and gone through hours upon hours upon hours of video on YouTube and, you know, reading reviews and stuff like that about switches, especially silent tactile switches, which in all retrospect, they're it's kind of an oxymoron. If you have a tactile switch, you don't really have a tactile switch for it to be quiet because, you know, you want the tactility, but still, I digress. So after listening to, again, and watching a ton of YouTube videos, I decided on picking these up. Now, what's so special about these? So like I said, these are Boba U4 switches made by Gazu. I think I'm saying that right. If not, I apologize. And these are quite possibly the quietest tactile switches that I've ever heard in my entire life. So a couple things about these switches. They come in two different weights, 62 grams and 68 grams. I picked the 62 grams because I like a lighter switch. I don't really care for heavy switches. Right now in my drop shift, I have Halo Trues in there, and they're a 67 gram switch, and I feel like they're a little too heavy for me. So I picked the 62 gram switch of this instead of the 68 because, again, I like a lighter type. So I don't really know deep specifics about this switch. Like, I really don't remember what kind of plastic it's made out of. I think the top housing is palm, but I'm not entirely sure. What I'm gonna do is down below, I'm gonna list an article of a review for this switch that goes super in depth, way more in depth than I ever will, because like I said, I'm still relatively new into this hobby, so I'm mainly here for the sound. Another thing about this switch that is noticeable right off the bat is that it's a 5-pin hot swap switch. The drop keyboards are 3-pin, so that means that you're gonna have to clip the legs of the switch, which in all reality is not really that big of a deal. So that's what I'm going to do to these. Another thing that's interesting about this switch, and mainly silent tactile switches anyways, silent switches in general I think, is that they have a silicone dampening pads in the actual switch. Super quiet. They don't come factory lubed, which is really interesting. Usually when switches don't come factory lubed, they end up being a little scratchy. From what I have experienced and what I've seen and what I've heard, there's no scratchiness in these, which is really nice. I do plan on lubing these. My lube is still in the mail. I'm still waiting for it to come in. Everything is back ordered. So once that comes in and all that stuff, then I will be lubing these. From what I've heard, lubing really might not do a lot when it comes to these switches. So it's going to be a lot of experimentation with these. What's next? Next thing to do is I'm going to clip these and I'm going to put them in my drop shift, and we're going to see how they sound, because I'm very interested to see exactly how the difference, I should say. I'm very interested to see the difference in sound between these and the Halo Trues. Granted, the Halo Trues aren't really a silent switch, but still, these are, and I'm really looking forward to it. Alright, so there you have it. As you can see in the typing test and as you can hear, I think we can all agree that the sound is pretty drastic. Now, granted, Halo Trues, they're not really a silent switch, but just the difference between the two is night and day. So one thing I can say about these Boba switches is that they feel really, 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 really nice. Like I said, I got the 62 gram version, so it's a pretty light type. They're not as light as Browns are, because Browns are very, very light, but they're definitely lighter than the Trues, which are a 67 or 68 gram weight. I'm done off the top of my head. But the Halo Trues, they just feel really heavy, and I never really liked how they felt. But switching to these, oh man, they're so nice, and I love how they sound. In the typing test, you could hear, mainly what you could hear was the stabilizers, which is going to be next for the mod on this keyboard. The next mod is going to be stabilizers, and seeing if I can install some foam behind the PCB also. That's going to be another video. One thing I was worried about is that because they have an opaque housing and they don't have a clear housing like the Halo Trues do, I was worried that it was gonna ruin the RGB of the board, but it actually hasn't. I actually do like the RGB of the board with these switches, and the good thing is that there is also an RGB version of the Boba switches. So let's say you don't want to risk losing any part of the RGB on your keyboard, you can buy those. I will be ordering a set of those. Also, starting this hobby and getting more into it, I'm gonna try and expand and broaden my horizons. You know, like I said, I'm hashtag Tactile gang. I like tactile switches, but maybe I'll venture into looking at some linears or something else like that. I do have a couple pretty cool projects that are upcoming, so that's exciting, so stay tuned for those. And I'm going to be looking into other switches. There's a whole bunch of silent tactile switches. You have Xylent V2s, there's Otemu Skies. I can't think of anything else. There's more, regardless of fact. So I'm going to be looking into all those. Another thing that's coming up is going to be, I'm going to be lubing these switches. So I just want to see, you know, exactly, you know, what the difference is between a lubed boba and an unlubed boba. And then if it's that much of a difference, which I honestly don't think it's gonna be, then swap out, pull these out, and lube them up and put them back in. So that is it for this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to click the like button, and if you liked it that much, you could also subscribe. And yeah, that is it. So you guys take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.